Okay, so today we are going to talk about transformations. You would get, let's say 5 to 6 mark question. You will see this in most of the papers. Obviously, it could vary, but most of the times the examiner asks from this topic just for, let's say, 5 to 6 marks. Okay, that is a separate thing. We'll come to that once we start the past papers. That we would shortly. Okay, today we will be talking about transformations. Okay. Now, when we say transform, what exactly happens? So we would be having a diagram. Most probably, it would be a triangle, or let's say it is a point. It is any object. We are going to transform it, and we'll see 4 transformations. Okay. So it could be that the object is reflected. It could be that it is rotated. It could be that it is shifted from one place to another. We call that translation. And it could be that the object, gets bigger or it gets smaller. So we call that enlargement. So let me write down the 4 types of transformation we'll be covering. Now, this is very important. 4 types of transformations. Okay. The first one is reflection. The second one is rotation. The third one is translation. And the fourth one is enlargement. Okay. Now we have these 4 types of transformations, and in every type we are going to discuss different things. Okay. So as I told you earlier, reflection we would be having a line of reflection. It could be any line. I would discuss that in detail. And the object, the image would be reflected on the other side. In case of rotation, we would be rotating our diagram or object about the center. In case of translation, it would be shifted from one point to another one. And in case of enlargement, either the diagram would get smaller or it would get bigger. Today, we'll just talk about reflection and rotation. I might start translation, but we'll be covering translation and enlargement in the next class. Okay. This is what we know. Right. So these are the 4 types. Let's talk about the first type in detail now. That is reflection. Okay. Turhan, you have just joined, so I'll give you a quick idea about today's class. We have started transformations. We have 4 types of
Yeah.
transformations, okay? And we are going to discuss reflection now.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, I've done reflection transformations.
Okay, all right, that's good. Reflection, okay. Now, in case of reflection, I will see in 4 of these types, you would be finding out one thing. In case of reflection, we'll be finding out the line of reflection. Okay, obviously, you would have a line about which you would reflect the image. In case of rotation, we'll see if it is rotated in the clockwise direction, in the anti-clockwise direction. We'll talk about angle there. In case of translation, we'll talk about the translation vector or matrix. We use the term vector in the IGCSE syllabus, and we use the term matrix and for like the other O-level students. Okay. And then the last one would be the enlargement. We'll be using scale factor. For now, I'm just telling you this thing. Obviously, we'll talk about that in detail. I just want to give you an idea about 4 of these types. Okay. For now, let's just focus on reflection. Now, reflection is self-explanatory. Obviously, you would have a point or an image or a shape, something of that type. You would have the line of reflection, and you will make the resultant image. Okay, so let's just write down the method. Okay, now I'll make a table. This table would help you in learning a few things. So we would be needing 4 lines of reflection. So I would be needing 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now, when we talk about reflection, always remember we have a line of reflection. Okay. So I'll write down the 4 most popular lines of reflection, and obviously it could be any line, but I'll come to that later. So let's say the line of reflection is y equals x, then it is y equals minus x, then it is the x-axis, and then it is the y-axis. Okay. In case of this, we are going to replace x and y with each other. In case of y equals minus x, I'll explain this again. Do not worry. Let me just write this down. Meanwhile, you can just, relax for some time. We will replace x and y and change sign. Then if it is x-axis, change y sign, and if it is y-axis, change x sign. Okay, now please pay attention. We are talking about transformations. We have 4 types: reflection, rotation, translation, and then enlargement. For now, we are just focusing on the first type, that is reflection. Now, what is transformation? Transformation is just transformation of any shape, any object, any point, anything. Okay. Whenever something is reflected, we will be focusing on the line of reflection. So here I have the line of reflection. Okay, y equals x, y equals minus x, x-axis and y-axis. These are the 4 most used lines of reflection, and here is what happens when they are reflected this way. For example, let's say I have a point x and the coordinates of x are 1 and 2. Okay, now if 1 and 2 is reflected in the line y equals x, what would happen? Just focus on this. I'll show you the diagram later on, but using the table, they're saying replace x and y with each other. So x dash would be 2, 1. Okay. If the line of reflection is y equals minus x, we are going to get the image by replacing both of them. So it would become 2 and 1, and signs would be changed. So initially we had positive 2 and positive 1, it would become minus 2 and minus 1. In case of this line of reflection, we are going to change the y sign only. So it would be 1 and minus 2. And in case of the last one, it is going to be minus 1 and 2. Now, I am pretty sure that at this time, things would not be making sense. I'll make a diagram and then you would be able to understand it. So This is the y-axis. This is the x-axis, y-axis, x-axis, okay? Let's focus on this one first. This case is when the line of reflection is y equals x. Y equals x is going to be this line that is passing through the origin. This is the line of y equals x. So this is the line y equals x. So this is 1, and let's say this point is 2. I'm going to make the point, okay? So this is the point, right? Now we'll see what is going to happen when it is reflected by the line y equals x. Now forget about everything. Just focus on this diagram. This is your dot. Your line is y equals x. When the image would be reflected, it would come somewhere here, okay? The coordinates of this point are, this point is 1 and this point is 2. So the coordinates are 2 and 1, okay? Now we can see that using the table method, the tips I've given you is also telling us that it could be 2, 1, and if you are doing it directly, you would also be getting the same point, right? You should know both the methods. You should be clear with the concept as well as with these tips, okay? Let's talk about this one. Okay, now let's say I have the line of reflection as x-axis. Now what is x-axis? This is going to be the line of reflection in our case. This is the line of reflection. Let me make a point. Let's say the point again is 1, 2. So this is the point. When it would be reflected by the line x-axis, so it would be 2 units down. It would be here. So this is -2. What are the coordinates of this point now? They are 1 and -2. And this is also giving me 1 and -2. So this way or the other, you are going to get the reflected image, right? So this is A and the reflection is A dash. For now, I'm just using a point in order to explain the concept. Obviously in exam and in other questions, I would be referring to proper shapes. So I want all of you to be honest with yourselves and tell me if you have understood this or not. This example only.
Yes, I understood.
Okay, what about the other
Yes, ma'am.
students? Yes, Ali, Rania, Turhan, is this okay?
Yes, ma'am, it's there.
Okay, very good.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, it's clear.
okay. Very good. Okay, now we are clear with the simple point. Let's just clear this. I won't rub the, this table. We'll be using that, and you'll see once you're comfortable with the concept, you would be able to do it directly as well. So let's talk about shape now. I'll just make it again. Okay, I'll write it down again. It's replaced. It was for y equals x. It was for y equals -x. Okay. This is what we have. All right. Now I am going to make the diagram. All right, just give me one minute only. All right, okay, I'm sorry, I'm back. Okay, now I am going to make a triangle in this case. So it is going to be here. This is the image. I'll write down the coordinates. So this is 3, it's 2, it's 1, this is 0. Then we have -1, we have -2. Okay, this point is -2 and 3. Then this point is -2 and 1, and this point has the coordinates 0 and 1. Okay, this is example number 1. Please pay attention, all of you. Okay, now you have been told that this is an image, this is a shape, and it is reflected by the line y equals x. So I'll make the line of reflection is this line. Okay, now this is your line of reflection, and you need to see what is going to happen when it is reflected about the y equals x line. Okay, now what do we know? We have 3 points. I'll write down the 3 points. First point is -2, 3. The other one is -2, 1. And then the last one is 0, 1. It is the line y equals x. So I'll be focusing on this. Replace x and y with each other. So the coordinates for the new triangle would be 3, -2, 1, -2, and 1, 0. So this is going to be 1, this would be 2, this is going to be 3, this is -1, -2, and then we have -3. Okay, this is the first point. 3 minus 2. So the x-axis has the coordinate 3 and the y-axis has the coordinate 2. This is the first point. Then it is 1 minus 2. So this is going to be the second point, and then it is 1, 0. So 1, 0 would be this point. Okay, now I'm going to join these points and make this triangle. So it would be this, this, and this. Okay, so let's say this triangle is A. The mirror image would be A dash. Okay, now yes, at times students say that why are we following this table when we can directly imagine and make the drawing. No, your imagination might not work in the examination hall because obviously you would be having too much pressure on your nerves. The best thing is to learn these tips and tricks that I would be sharing for this chapter. And once you know all of them, you just have 4 for reflection, and I'll talk about the other topics. And inshallah, you would be able to do all the transformations, right? So any confusions in this, anything that you have not understood, please tell me.
No, ma'am.
Okay, be honest with yourselves. Okay, if you have not understood this, tell me honestly. Okay, now I am going to talk about the last example for this, and then we'll talk about the next type of transformation. And I want you guys to help me with this one. Okay, now obviously, as I told you earlier as well, it is not necessary that your line of reflection is one of these 4 that I've shared in the table. It could be anything. Okay, so let's talk about that now. This is the y-axis. This is your x-axis. Let me make the triangle in this case. So the triangle would be of this type. Okay, I label the diagram. It is 0. This point is -1. This one is 1. This is 2. Then we have 3. Okay. This is 1, this 2, then we have 3, 4, and 5. Now, obviously, I'm just, explaining over here, so I am not actually writing down the coordinates properly. I'm just trying to explain this. So, yeah, it is like this. Then we have -1, we have -2, we have -3, and yes. And then for the y-axis, this is 1, then this is 2, and then this is 3. And the line of reflection for this one is the line x equals 2. This is the line of reflection. Okay. Yes, please pay attention. I'm going to make the line now. It is x equals 2. When we say x equals 2, it is going to be a vertical line on the x coordinate, that is 2. So this would be the vertical line. Now in this table, I did not tell you how the points are going to change for this line. Obviously, I cannot write down every scenario. You need to use your mind as well. Okay. So this time around for this, we will just look at the distance. We have 3 points on the triangle. This is the first point. It's 1 unit away from the line of reflection. So this point would be here. It would be 1 unit away. Now this point right here is 1, 2, 3 units away. Okay. So I am going to make it 3 units away. So it would be 1, 2, and 3. This point is going to be here on 5. And then this would be again 3 units away, but it would be against 3. So it would be here. Now I'm going to connect these 3 points to make the triangle. Obviously, it is not going to be a perfect drawing because I did not use a proper grid. And obviously, it would have been much better if I used that, but I was not able to. So yes, this would be the image for this line of reflection. So if this is A, this is A dash, okay? Now for this one, I did not use any formula, anything, any strategy, any tip. The only thing that I use is the fact that if line of reflection is x equals 2, the image and the original object, that is the triangle, would be equidistant from the line. This point is 1 unit away, so this would also be 1 unit away. This point is 3 units away, so this would be 3 units away. And then for this one, we follow the same concept, right? So any doubts about this? We are done with reflection. Please be honest and tell me if you have understood this or not.
Yes.
Okay. Turhan, Saneem, Rania, and Ali.
Fair.
Okay. Turhan, did you understand this?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay. And what about you, Ali? Please tell me if you have understood this or not.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Excellent. Okay. Now we are done with reflection. Okay. Obviously, we'll do past paper questions once we are done with this chapter. But yeah, for now, reflection is done. Okay. The next type is rotation. That is the last type for today. So we are going to talk about the second type. That is rotation. Now, in case of rotation, you need to understand the idea. Rotation may we would be having center of rotation about which we would be rotating the object. And the second thing is we need to focus on the angle. We would be rotating it either by a 90 degrees angle or 180 degrees angle. We would be rotating it clockwise or anti-clockwise, right? So that is going to depend. I am again going to make the table for your understanding. And then let's see. Okay, so we only have 3 scenarios. So it is going to be a rotation by 180 degrees, then it could be that it is rotated by 90 degrees in the anti-clockwise direction, and it could be that it is rotated by 90 degrees in the clockwise direction. Okay. Now in this case, where it is rotated by 180 degrees, we are just going to change the sign. For 90 degrees anti-clockwise, we would replace both and change excess sign. Okay. And for this one, we would again replace both and change y sign. Okay. Use this when center is 0, 0. Okay. Abhi, I did not explain anything, so don't worry, just relax. Okay. Once I explain this, you would understand that. Okay. Now, what exactly do we have here? This is a table that is giving you information about the rotation when it is about the origin, and origin has coordinates 0, 0. So whenever the center is 0, 0, or the center would be given in these questions, you would be knowing that about what center you are rotating your shape. If the center is 0, 0, you will be following this table. Let's talk about an example and then we'll talk about the other scenario. So the question is, rotate the triangle XYZ 90 degrees clockwise about the center that has coordinates 0, 0. Okay. I will make the diagram now. So this is the y-axis. This is the x-axis. Here's the triangle XYZ. Please pay attention, it's very important. Rotation is very, very important. So it is x, y, and z. The coordinates of x are 1, 1. The coordinates of y are 4, 1. And the coordinates of z are 4, 3. Okay. Now what do we know? This is a triangle and it is rotated clockwise by the angle 90 degrees. So we are going to focus on this row. Okay. What do we know now? We know that all the coordinates would be replaced and the sign of y would change. What are the coordinates? We have 1, 1. We have 4, 1. We have 4, 3. So we are going to replace them first. So 1, 1 would still be 1, 1, but the sign of y would change. So it would get minus. Now 4, 1 would become what? Who's going to tell me? Follow this last row and tell me what would be the transformed coordinate of 4, 1 where it is rotated by 90 degrees angle in the clockwise direction. This is what you're going to follow. Okay. Please try answering this. Type in the comment box and tell me, all of you, what would be the rotation of 4, 1? I'm waiting for your response. I don't mind if the answer is wrong. Just tell me what would be the rotation once you rotate 4, 1. Yes, Saneem, Turhan, Rania, and okay. Yes, I got 2 answers. What about Ali and Turhan? Just type whatever comes to your mind. Yes, please. I want both of you to participate as well. Turhan, what would be the rotation? Okay, all right. Now please focus, okay? I got 2 answers and they are wrong. I want all of you to focus and listen to me carefully. This is the second type of transformation. This is rotation. Here we would be focusing on 3 things. Number 1, the center. Number 2, the direction. It could be clockwise or anti-clockwise. Number 3, the angle of rotation. This question is basically telling you to rotate this triangle XYZ. And what are the 3 important things that they are given? In the clockwise direction, 90 degrees angle, center is 0, 0. So this means we would be focusing on the last row, on this row. Now we know that, let's say these are the coordinates of X, Y, and Z. We are interested in finding out the rotated coordinates. So in that case, let's follow this. Replace both and change Y sign. So when we will swap 1, 1, it would still be 1, 1, and the sign of y-axis would become -1. We'll swap 4, 1, so it would become 1 and 4, and the sign would change now, okay? First you have to replace and then you need to change the sign. So minus would come with 4. And for the last one, yes, now can you try this? Swap 4 and 3. Once you swap this would become 3 and 4, and the sign of y would be changed. It would be -4. So this is how we find the rotated coordinates. Let's just plug in these values. So this is 1, and let's say this is -4. So this point is 1 -4. Then we have 3 -4. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is -1, -2, -3. Okay. So yeah, the first point is 1 -1. It would be this one. The second one is 1 -4. We have already plotted that. And then the last one is Z 3 -4. So it would be somewhere here. Now I am going to connect them. And this is what I would get. Okay. Now this is simple. If you follow this table, things would be very, very easy for you. You would be able to do that easily. Okay. Now this is when the center was 0, 0. I told you you can use this table only if the center is 0, 0. What if the question is something else? Okay. For that, we are going to make another table. All right. Okay. I'll make the other table. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Meanwhile, you can just note this down. Okay. All right, okay. Now let's see what would happen in case when the center is not 0, 0. I'll write down the steps we would be following in that case. Okay. So this is going to be when the center is not 0, 0. First, you are going to subtract the center. Then you are going to use the above table, and then you are going to add the center. Okay. Any confusions with this? Anyone who has not understood this, please tell me.
No.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about an example. This would be the last example for today. Let me just write this down quickly. Okay. So it is example number 2. This time around, the center would not be 0, 0. Rotate the triangle XYZ 90 degrees anti-clockwise direction about the center to 1. Okay. Now this is the question. Let me just quickly make the diagram. This is the last thing for today. Please focus on this. Try understanding this. This is important. All right. So let me make the triangle now. It's here. This is the base. This is the triangle X, Y, and Z. The coordinates are 3, 1. This coordinate is 4, 1. And this one is 4, 3. So let's forget about the triangle. Forget about everything. Just focus on rotation. Now you need to rotate this triangle XYZ about the center 2, 1, and the angle is 90 degrees and it is in the anti-clockwise direction. Now obviously for this you would be following the second row. We are going to focus on this, but the center is not 0, 0. So you are not going to follow the first table. You will be following this table. So this is for center other than 0, 0. Okay. Centers other than 0, 0. Please pay attention. Okay. Step 1 is going to be subtract the center. Let's just write down all the coordinates that we have. So we have 3, 1, then we have 4, 1, and then we have 4, 3. 3, 1 is going to become what? First, you need to subtract the center. So when you will subtract 2, 1 from 3, 1, what would it become? Yes. What do you think?
1-0.
It would be 1-0.
Very good. Excellent. All of you, Rania, Saneem, and Turhan. This would be 1-0. And 4-1 would become
2-0.
very good. 4-1 would become 2-0. Okay. So this is 4-0 and this is a 4-1. Yeah, I'm sorry. Basically, there's some problem with my tablet today. That is why, this class, I have to mute the mic again and again because it stops working. So I need to fix that. So I would get it fixed before the next class. Anyways, this is 4-1. And this is going to be what? This is going to be 2-0. Very good. And what about the last one? Yes. Once you will subtract the center, it would become 2 and 2. Okay. Right. Now we have subtracted the center. We are done with the first point. Now we are going to use the table. Okay. So these are the points and we will be using the table for these points. So this is the row that we would be following. Replace both and change the X sign. I'm going to swap them 0, 1, 0, 2, and this is 2, 2. So this would become -2 and 2. Obviously, when I would change the X sign here and here, it would be -0. So -0 and 0, they are the same, right? Any confusion so far? Ali, Rania, Turhan, Saneem? This is the last thing. Please pay attention and tell me if you have any doubts.
No.
Okay. Very good. And then in the end, you need to add the center again. What was the center? The center was 2, 1. So when we will add 2, 1, it would become 2 and 2. This would become 2 and 3. And this would become 0 and 3. And now we are going to just plot these points on the triangle. Okay. So this was a rotation and we need to plot these points. So let's just do that. Okay. So 2 and 2. So let's say this is 1, this is 2. Let me just try making the points correctly. This would take time in my case, but it won't take time in your case because you would be doing that on grids. This one is 4, then it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. The first point is 2 and 2. So it would be here. The second point is 2 and 3. So it would be here. And then the last point is 0 and 3. So it would be here. Now I'm going to connect these points. And this is what I am going to get. Now, obviously, the size of the triangle should not change, okay? But since I am just, doing this without the grid and without the help of a scale, that is why it is different. Now, I want all of you to pay attention. I'm going to repeat this and then that is it, okay? This is the second type of transformation, that is rotation. Now, in case of rotation, we have two things that we need to keep in mind. The center, okay? The center could either be 0, 0. That is the first thing. In that case, you would be following this table. The other thing is it could be any other center. So you would be following this table. Okay. This is the first decision you would be making. Once you know what is the center, you will be following the table and that is it. Okay. You would be using the angle. You would be using the direction. You have these 3 rows. You need to pick up the appropriate row and then just transform the coordinates. Okay, transform the coordinates and then make the diagram. Never ever try making it by hit and trial method that it is rotating in, the anti-clockwise direction. So it would be like of that type. Yes, you might get a correct shape, but that won't be possible every time. Okay. You don't know how exactly you're going to rotate when the center is 2, 1 and what exactly it means, right? So in order to be precise, in order to do things correctly, we will transform these three coordinates using the information given in the tables, and then we would be able to do that correctly. So that is it for today. We have covered the first two types of transformation. In the next class, we'll talk about translation and enlargement. Okay. So any doubts about this, please tell me honestly. Yes.
No, ma'am. No.
Okay. And what about the other students, Turhan, Rania, and
It's clear, miss.
it's clear? All right. Okay. That is perfect then. Then I'll see you in the next class. Okay. Take care, all of you. Allah Hafiz.